This is Delhi. Please stand by for our next program. This is All India Radio. In our national program of talks tonight, we bring you an interview entitled The Amazing Plogging Man, in which India's plogging ambassador and environmentalist Ripudaman Singh Bevli is in conversation with Naveen K. Gupta of All India Radio Delhi. My guest tonight has single-handedly got a 1 crore plus population of this country involved in his dream of making India litter-free. And his troopers range from age 8 to 80. They include all kinds of people: government employees, corporate employees, high-end professionals, students, kids, and even our Prime Minister lauded his efforts on September 2019 broadcast of Mann Ki Baat. He is officially known as the Plogging Ambassador of India. I'm talking about none other than Ripudaman Singh Bevli, the amazing Plogging Man of India. Ripudaman, welcome to the studios of All India Radio.
Thank you, Naveen ji, for having me.
What is a trash workout?
The trash workout, कूड़ा कसरत हिंदी में. तो हम what we wanted to do when we started this movement was to make picking up other people's litter the coolest thing to do in India. So when I started this movement, my mission statement was I wanted to make cleaning up other people's litter the coolest thing to do. Now, how do you do that was the question that I had. I thought fitness might be the answer. Fitness/running might be the answer. So we got people involved in run and clean up initially. Then slowly, as we realized it's picking up, especially kids and teenagers would love the activity. We started doing workshops with schools. I thought, let's take it to the next level. How any fitness workout has beginner, intermediate and advanced levels. Similarly, we created these levels, and that's what we call as trash workout. So trash workout is basically what you do, the exercises that you do while plogging, while picking up litter. And I think in the last 5 years, we made this the coolest thing to do, to pick up somebody else's litter.
Ripudaman, now plogging started somewhere in Sweden, I read, in 2016. It wasn't heard of in India till you made it fashionable. What does the word plogging mean?
So plogging very basically means picking up litter while jogging. Okay. When we started this movement towards end of 2016, we hadn't heard this term either. It was just a bunch of us as runners starting to pick up litter after our running or training workouts. So very organically, it became something which was fitness or Fit India plus Swachh Bharat. And later in 2017, we realized there's a term to it, plogging. And we were like, okay, we want to make this cool. And there's a cool term to it. Why not club this and call ourselves Ploggers of India?
Ploggers of India, you people are very bootstrapped.
The idea was to not make this one person's or one group's or one community's mission or movement or organization. It should be every Indian's movement. Litter Free India should be every Indian's dream, and that we work towards. Now, in 2014, the Swachh Bharat mission started, right? There was a lot of awareness generation activities being done. But when I looked at it in 2016, almost 95% of the population, at least around me, which was the educated lot, did not even understand what's the difference between green bucket and a blue bucket, dry waste and wet waste. So the idea was, how do we take this to the masses? Was by getting them involved in some sort of a cleanup, some sort of a fitness activity, which can happen around their vicinity as well. So that's why all wanted to make this a movement, everyone's movement. So it's a bootstrap movement.
But you are basically an engineer by training. You're a techie.
Yeah.
So how did this 180-degree shift to plogging from, sitting in a corporate office?
So techie in terms of education, yes, engineer. But I've been a sports person all my life. I've played multiple sports. I've played cricket, as every Indian, football, volleyball, handball, athletics at various levels, state, university, district. I've played it at decent levels, multiple sports. So sports, fitness, running has always been part of my life. Now in 2013, it was when I got an injury and I literally couldn't move without a limb.
What kind of an injury was it?
It was a hamstring injury.
Okay.
Pretty bad that I couldn't even walk without a limb for a year. At that time, activities and fitness was very, very limited. Plunged myself fully into corporate career. I did pretty well, climbed up the corporate ladder pretty fast, was heading sales for this big MNC. But I felt something was amiss. I felt there was something more to me than just trying to run a corporate rat race every day. Nothing wrong in it, But I felt my calling was somewhere else. And I realized over time when I got back to running in 2016 that when you run in the morning, train in the morning, there are lesser people and no traffic. I observed litter, trash and plastic more. And I thought, let's do something about it. Let's do something which is cool. The entire country can be a part of, and we can actually see India litter free. I always say I have this crazy dream of making India litter free. It kind of was born out of those sights that I saw in the mornings.
But pardon me for saying this, 90% of our populace, which can even include me, don't find picking up stinking litter very cool.
Yeah.
I'd rather have somebody else do it.
Yes. First mindset challenge was that when we look at people in the morning, rack pickers, sanitation workers, municipal workers, and we also believe that we all are tax-paying individuals, right? So we are paying government the taxes to clean up our mess around us, right? So we keep our houses, we keep our cars clean, and we throw everything outside. Because A, we are paying for it. B, we look down upon these people. What do we call them in Hindi? We call them kachre wala. Our first point was they are safai wala because they're cleaning up. We are kachre wala because we are littering, right? That's the mindset shift that we wanted to have, because whether it is them, whether it is us, a doctor, scientist, engineer, prime minister, you, me, anybody for that matter, we're all working towards earning bread for our family, right? Doing some work. And in a way contributing towards the society, towards the country, and their contribution has been immense. And we've seen that during the lockdown, right? Had they not been there, our streets and our parks would have been completely littered. They were risking their lives. So their contribution is immense. So we need to respect everybody equally, right? That's trying to make something cool. Before that, I wanted to change the mindset that we all deserve equal respect.
Difficult mindset to change, because we Indians have another complex. We keep our houses very clean. Take the litter and dump it in the street.
Yeah.
So how do you change mindset of people like that?
So I believe this, and I can prove it to you as well, that when you bend down to pick up somebody else's litter, we've never thought about even picking up our own litter, because if there's something inside our house, we'll have maids and take care of it, right? So we don't even clean our own litter. We Indians have that culture, right? Now, somehow, some way, if we can get one person to pick up bend down to pick up somebody else's litter, he or she will not litter again. That awareness of bending down and picking up somebody else's litter, that one activity, just one time, will bring so much of awareness that they will not litter again. And that's what we need. Swachh Bharat, Clean India will not happen till the time we Indians keep on littering. So our idea is always to talk about littering and bring awareness that you and I, we don't have to clean up. We just have to stop littering. It's that simple.
For a young man, it seems that you have imbibed the Gandhian philosophy.
Yeah, so his words, Gandhiji's words, everyone needs to be their own scavenger. That was my inspiration when I started the movement. So you right in saying that, and I think because you mentioned Gandhiji, I took inspiration from him in many ways. I also took inspiration from him. I was in Ladakh in 2018. At that time, I was doing this part-time. I had a startup and I was still doing this part-time. And I was running around Ladakh. I went to this place called Varela. It is at 17,500 feet. Very few people throughout the year go there. And such beautiful, pristine place. And still you would find plastic and litter there. And I was like, not many people come here and there's still litter here. That was a huge wake-up call. And then I also kind of replayed in my mind. I read a lot about Gandhiji. During his Satyagraha movement, if you think about it, he had two primary struggles. One against the British for our freedom. The second one was against our own people's unhygienic, unclean littering habits. We won the first fight in 47, right? We got our freedom. We're still a century later in the shackles of the same unclean, unhygienic habits.
Didn't anybody object in your family or in your friend circle that what are you doing? You're picking up litter from the streets? Corporate boy?
So before
trained engineer? Nah?
So before friends, there were curious eyes of people around who saw me doing it.
I mean, you there in your full athletic gear picking up litter?
Yes. And a few people, there were curious eyes, there were little murmurs, and a few people had the courage to come even and ask me, why are you doing this? This is not your responsibility. I would hear that. And that's the mindset change, right? We need to bring that when people litter, nobody questions. it's such an integral part of our culture that nobody questions that wrong attitude, wrong action. But if you're doing something right, but people question me. So that gave me, more conviction probably that this is what I want to do. This is what I want to change. Let's take an example of metro. I've always seen Delhi metro being cleaner than other places around Delhi. Why would that be the case? I guess because people have come to respect the place. People have seen that the authorities have kept it clean for a longer period of time, and we should do the same as well. So when you're moving from two different markets, right? On your right, you see people have already started littering. So there's a little bit of a dump. If you have something in your hand, as on your left, there's a cleaner place, a cleaner lane. Most likely, you will dump it on the right, not on the left. There's that respect thing coming in as well when we look at things, and that's what we want to do. Let's say I have 100 people. I'm trying to influence. I get 10 people to somehow join me, or 5 people somehow join me. Now these people, especially if there are kids and teenagers, these people will take these lessons back in their communities. They will influence their parents, their relatives, their peers, their friends, and it'll become a chain from there on, right? I probably am just a catalyst to influence these 5 people, and these 5 people will influence 500 more people. That's how you bring about a change.
You did a unprecedented campaign. It wasn't heard in India, at least. 50 days, 50 cities, 2.7 tons of garbage was collected. What was that about?
Yeah, it was called Run to Make India Litter Free.
When was this?
2019. It was an unprecedented campaign. In hindsight, I look at it and I'm like, how did you even envision this in the first place? Because it sounds crazy that you are running every day, you are in one city every day and cleaning up that city, a place that you haven't been before. You don't know people there. How will people join you? How will you spread awareness? How will you clean up? Or would it be just you on your own trying to clean up a place?
And a country as diverse as India.
Yes. So we started from Kochi. We traveled across south, then west, central, east, going up to Guwahati in the northeast, and then all over north, going up to Jammu, and finally finishing in Delhi. So one day, one city, clean up for as many hours as possible, depending on the number of people and the enthusiasm of people. I remember in Coimbatore, for example, we started at around 5 a.m. Started running from a place where runners had joined us. Around 50 runners had joined us, and the oldest participant was around 78 there. We started cleaning up at 5 a.m. and we continued till 3 p.m. Not one place, we went to 4 different places. Yes, we braked for breakfast and lunch, but we cleaned up literally for 10 hours at a stretch. That was because of the enthusiasm of people, and then we had to move to the next city. So it so happened that generally we would get a lot of enthusiastic crowd. The idea was that the cleanup shouldn't be just for one day, right? What you take away, what the locals take away from there, and then take it to their local communities, which can be done regularly. The activities can be done regularly. That not just single-use plastic, but single-use anything which generates waste is something that we have to be mindful of.
All right, let's get you to do a little quick poll. If you were to give marks from 1 to 10 to various age groups for, awareness about cleanliness, kids.
Up to 15, 10.
And above 15?
15 to 20, let's say 8.
Middle-aged people?
Middle-aged people, 6.
Elderly people?
5, 6, same.
So you find kids are a better ambassadors of cleanliness and awareness about cleanliness?
Yes, absolutely.
Do you do any work in schools?
Yeah, we've organized workshops with more than 50 schools across the country. That's like the best experience that we've always had, because they take to this activity like fish to water. They're already aware, but you're just setting the right examples for them, because as you saw the ratings going down with the age group, basically we know everything when we start, and slowly and somewhere those lessons are lost, right? And we don't know any better as we learn the ways of the world. So if we can set the right examples for kids throughout their growing up age, I'm pretty sure they will be the ambassadors of change, guiding us to a better future.
What are the youngest classrooms you've dealt with?
Age 5.
Age 5?
Yes.
And they are very conscientious.
Very conscious. They're most enthusiastic. More than conscious, they're enthusiastic and easy to imbibe these lessons.
And now you use social media to your advantage.
I do use social media. I am probably the worst person to be on social media. Given a choice, I will be off it. I am in my personal life a private person, but I do realize and understand the importance of social media too. So we do use it to a certain extent. We're not very good at it. I'm hoping that we'll be able to soon build this movement in a way that we'll have dedicated people for social media who can take care. I can be completely of social media in my nirvana.
You're so private that when you figured in the GK books of your nieces, you yourselves didn't know about it till they came and told you.
Yes. I mean, how would I know? I didn't have access to the GK books, but yeah, it was a very, very pleasant, happy surprise because they were beaming with joy. It was one of my most memorable moments because these little kids who I dote on, literally think of them as my daughters. They came home and they're like, Chachu, we bragged about you to our friends and to our teachers. That's our Chachu. In the GK book as the Plog Man of India or the Plogging Ambassador of India. So it was a memorable moment.
On 2nd October 2019, the Minister for Youth Affairs and Sports, Mr. Kiran Rijiju, officially gave you the title of the Plogging Ambassador of India. On that day, something momentous also took place. What was that about?
Yes, so that day the Government of India adopted our mission. Right, that's what the Prime Minister 4 days back before told me that is what is going to happen. We will take this movement and we will make this a national movement, and it'll be under the Sports Ministry, under the Fit India movement, which was surreal. And then he said we'll do this on October 2nd, where the entire country will join you. So I was flown down from Hyderabad. We were still on our mission, that 50-day mission. I came here. I flagged off along with the Sports Minister at that time. And it was momentous also because I took Gandhiji's words. Everyone needs to be their own scavenger 3 years ago to start this movement. 3 years later, on his 150th Jayanti, life came a full circle.
When you speak like this, it's like a movie. You must have pinched yourselves to believe that what was going on.
It was surreal. Like I said, life came a full circle. I mean, you don't plan these things, right? So initially, and to give you a little context, is when we started out, we didn't do these big drives where we were putting everything on social media and asking people to join, get PR involved, ask journalists to cover us. For the first year or so, when we started out doing our workshops with schools as well, in fact, a couple of schools asked us, can we get journalists and a couple of photographers? And I'm like, let's make something happen. Let's bring about some sort of a change. And then you can bring in people, because when you get people, when you get cameras, I believe we're doing more for the cameras than for the actual impact. And I'll tell you the impact that happened. We started with a school in Gurgaon. They adopted a local mandi. Every 2 weeks, we used to go and clean up. The kids used to go and clean up. Initially, we just went and cleaned up. 2 weeks later, we started carrying banners. Kids started making banners which said what are the ills of plastic, and cool captions like "Cool kids save the planet." Right, very cool. And then they started talking to the shopkeepers about the ills of plastic. 3 months later, shopkeepers were beaming when we went there again. They showed the kids their banners which said, "We don't have poly bags, bring your own jhola." And 3 to 4 months later, we never went back to that place because that place was kept clean by the shopkeepers and customers alike. We don't have to clean up that place. So that's the impact that I'm talking about. And that is why I say, let's talk about the impact that we create rather than just trying to bring in or do a lot of PR and marketing around it.
When you were speaking about this incident, I was thinking of a film called Do Aankhein Bara Haath by V. Shantaram, where the man was able to achieve change through his behavioral practices. Now, your Litter Free India movement, how many cleanups in how many cities and how much tons of garbage you have recycled or picked up?
Not kept a track of it personally, but I think...
off the cuff.
Yes, so there are more than 600 cleanups now in about 105 odd cities, 105, 106 cities at the last count. And in terms of litter, that's a hard ask, but I'm sure we'll be closer to 1,000 tons, if not more.
1,000 tons?
Yes.
And Ripudaman Singh, you have been involved in every cleanup?
So not all of the cleanups. I'm talking about as an organization, as a movement, wherever that we've organized. I would have been a part of 400, 450 of those.
And rest you have mentored?
Yes.
You must be going to sleep at night with a smile on your face.
Well, I mean, it's been a journey of its ups and downs. Right, there are a lot of things that are part and parcel of the journey. Right, your own growth as a person, what it means to you individually and to your family and to your loved ones, the financial aspect of it as well, XYZ, 100 other things. Right, so sometimes I have a smile on my face, sometimes I don't, but that's how it is, right, in anything that you choose to do.
Now, when COVID hit us, and it hit us very badly for 2 years down the drain,
Yeah.
What was your activity then? Because you had lockdowns, there were hardly people on the streets, but litter was still there. How did you yourselves and your troops occupied?
It was hard, like it was for everybody. Harder to us probably than most other people, because all of our activities were on ground, and we'd built a pretty significant momentum from 2019 even towards the start of 2020, because under the Fit India banner we were now starting with monthly plogging runs, and the idea was that we will have an eco club or a litter free India club in each of the 720 odd districts that India has. So every month I'll go to a particular place, a particular district, and initiate that activity on ground, and then we'll also have the other districts and other places join us remotely, right, or virtually in a way. And that's how you create that movement every month. We started in February. March the lockdown hit us, and hit us badly. So how we kept ourselves busy was through a lot of workshops, virtual workshops with schools. We also have a mantra called the Plastic Upvas, which the Honorable Prime Minister has also taken, that how can you still contribute towards the litter free India movement without really moving out, is by cutting down on your waste. So Plastic Upvas tells you, just shun one single use item from your life. It could be anything. It could be a bottle, carry your own bottle everywhere. It could be carry your own mug, carry your own cutlery, carry your own straw, but do something or use or carry something which is reusable, right?
You had advocated the use of recycled masks and gloves.
Yes.
Those which could be recycled and not single use.
Yeah, so I'm not a health expert, and I think at the beginning of COVID, there was a real risk of life. But whatever little that I understood of COVID or any other flu for that matter, I thought the surgical masks were providing you as much coverage or protection as these 2-3 layered reusable masks, right? And there was a real risk of us. It has actually happened. Right, the amount of plastic pollution has proliferated in a huge way, 50% increase. When you talk about surgical masks and gloves, these are not just plastic waste, these are biomedical hazardous waste. So if you have coronavirus on it, and if it is littered on the road, somebody else might just get infected by it, right? So our idea was, if you can use reusable masks, which 99% of the population could, if you don't have COVID, if you don't have symptoms, you could use it, we will cut down on our waste in a big way. So I've always tried to spread that awareness, and through our Plastic Upvas initiative, we did a lot of that activity in 2020.
You want to take eco-fitness to the 718 odd districts of India. What is that strategy?
So what I briefly spoke about at the beginning of 2020, we started this movement under Fit India. We are reinitiating that movement, and the idea is that every month we will organize a cleanup / a plogging run, and would ask participants from all over the country to join us. In the next 24 months, we'll also try to identify individuals and groups and communities who are very passionate about this activity and very passionate about the environment in the country. Identify them, give them certain titles of, let's say, the plogging champion or the Litter Free India champion in that district, in that place, and allow them or empower them to drive these activities locally and get more and more people involved every 2 weeks, every 4 weeks, so that it becomes like a regular activity. That's the vision that we're looking at for the next 24 months.
And you want to do something with cycling?
Yes. So last year in 2021, because COVID was still very much a threat, so we thought, what's that one fitness activity which we can do on ground and still have some sort of social distance? And I thought, what better way than cycling? And cycling, I always say this about cycle, it's a Hubble machine invented more than 500 years ago, has a handlebar and does string for the most part, and actually fights climate change. If a lot of our cities, the smart cities, we have more than 20 smart cities and a bigger plan for smart cities. If all of those smart cities have dedicated cycling lanes across the city, we can cut down on our traffic woes. We can actually bring down our pollution, which we've, by the way, seen at the beginning of the lockdown, how within 10 days, how our skies opened up, how the air was so, I mean, you looked at AQI, Delhi had lower AQI than London. How is that even possible? That happened because we humans were hauled up inside. So we could, for the first time, see how much of our human intervention and pollution really has that effect on the pollution and bad air. If we can cut that down, cycling can really help with that. That's why we did this campaign called Ride for Change. So I was cycling from Delhi to various cities around Delhi NCR. Indirapuram, Dehradun, Palampur, so anywhere between 100 to 500 kilometers, and organizing then local cleanups there and coming back on the cycle, trying to put zero emission and zero waste in focus.
And your inspiration happens to be your mother.
Yes, she is.
You are a single parent child.
I am.
You and your sister,
yes.
Younger sister.
Yes. I mean, I always say whatever little good is there in me is because of her. She's been my inspiration. She's taught me a lot of lessons through her actions and her hard work. So I think I always look up to her in everything. And it's such that today, some of her lessons I try to remind her. I mean, she's gone through a lot of struggle in her life. And probably she's forgotten some of those lessons sometimes. So it's hard as you grow. But yeah, I mean, she's the strongest person that I know. I'm not saying strongest woman. I think the strongest person that I know. Me and my sister exist because of her.
Well, another mother would be very proud of you, and that's Mother India. And you were talking about us taking a pledge. So
yes,
I'm ready to take that pledge.
So almost 1 crore people have taken this pledge.
Fine.
And it's the simplest of things that we all can do and contribute towards a clean India, a litter-free India. So you can cross your heart with the right hand.
I am raising my right hand.
Yes. I will say my name, you say your name, and whoever is listening to us can say their name and follow it.
Fine enough.
I, Ripudaman,
I, Naveen Gupta,
take this pledge
that
I will put my litter
in
a trash bin only. Wherever I go, I will carry my own jhola.
I'll carry my own jhola.
And say no to poly bags. Wherever I go, I will carry my own water bottle. And say no to single-use plastic bottles. And just because of these things, I will make my country, my India, litter-free, and the cleanest country in the world. Jai Hind.
Jai Hind. Ripudaman, it has been a pleasure talking to you. And I wish you great success in your future endeavors. And I wish all the best to men like you, because our future belongs in your hands.
Thank you so much.
You were listening to an interview entitled The Amazing Plogging Man, in which India's plogging ambassador Ripudaman Singh Bevli was in conversation with Naveen K. Gupta of All India Radio Delhi. Produced and presented by Naveen K. Gupta of All India Radio Delhi, this program came to you from the Delhi station of All India Radio.